Learn English through story. The Seductive Stranger. In the vibrant city of Verona, known for its rich history and enchanting ambience, life moved at a hurried pace, where dreams clashed with reality under the warm Italian sun. Among the throngs of tourists and locals, a young woman named Isabella lived her life quietly, confined within the walls of her family's bakery. The shop, Dolcisani, was famous for its delicate pastries and rich coffees, drawing in customers from all over the city. Yet, despite the bustling activity, Isabella often felt a deep sense of yearning, a desire for adventure and connection beyond the warm embrace of her home. Isabella was 28, with long chestnut hair that cascaded down her back and deep, expressive brown eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories. Her days were filled with the sweet scent of freshly baked goods and the cheerful banter of customers. But at night, as she closed the shop and returned to her small apartment above the bakery, she felt the emptiness settle in like a thick fog. Her life was a cycle of routine, dictated by the demands of the bakery. Though she loved the art of baking, a part of her craved something more, something thrilling, something that would stir her heart and awaken her soul. It was a longing she tried to ignore, but that gnawed at her spirit. One fateful evening, as she prepared to close up shop, the bell above the door jingled. Isabella turned to find a tall stranger standing at the entrance. He was strikingly handsome, with tousled dark hair and piercing blue eyes that sparkled with mischief. He wore a tailored leather jacket that hugged his broad shoulders, and the air around him seemed to crackle with energy. "Buonasera," he greeted her, his voice smooth and inviting. "I hope I'm not too late for a taste of your famous pastries." Isabella felt a flutter of excitement as she met his gaze. "We're just about to close, but I can whip up a few treats if you'd like." "I'm Isabella." "Luca," he replied, stepping closer. "I've heard so much about this place. It's been on my list since I arrived in the city." As he spoke, Isabella noticed the way his lips curled into a charming smile, and for the first time in a long while, she felt a spark of something exhilarating, a connection that transcended the mundane rhythm of her life. She gestured for him to take a seat at one of the small tables while she gathered the last of the pastries. "Would you like coffee or tea?" she asked, her heart racing. "Coffee, please." "I need something strong to keep me awake," he replied, watching her with an intensity that made her cheeks flush. As she prepared the drinks and desserts, they exchanged stories. Lucas spoke of his travels through Italy, sharing tales of breathtaking landscapes and charming villages. Isabella found herself hanging on his every word, captivated by the way he painted pictures with his voice. It was intoxicating, a distraction from her monotonous life. "Do you ever leave this little bakery?" Luca asked, curiosity gleaming in his eyes. "There's a whole world out there waiting for you." Isabella hesitated, her gaze drifting to the window where the city lights twinkled like stars. "I've always wanted to travel, but I have responsibilities here," she admitted, her voice tinged with regret. "Responsibilities can be a burden," he said, leaning forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "But sometimes, taking a leap of faith is the best thing you can do for yourself." His words resonated deeply within her, awakening a desire she thought she had buried. They continued to talk and laugh, the chemistry between them palpable. Time slipped away unnoticed until the clock chimed midnight. "I should probably let you close up," Lucas said reluctantly, standing up and pulling out a small notebook. "But I'd love to see you again, Isabella. Here's my number. Call me when you're free." She took the slip of paper, her heart racing. "I will." "Thank you for the lovely evening, Luca." As he stepped outside, Isabella felt a rush of emotions. There was something magnetic about him, something that stirred a yearning deep within her. She knew she was playing with fire, but for the first time, she didn't care. She wanted to explore this connection, to step beyond the boundaries of her safe existence. That night, as she lay in bed, Luca's face danced in her mind. She felt alive with possibilities, the prospect of adventure electrifying her spirit. Could this stranger be the catalyst for change in her life? With that thought, she drifted into a deep, dreamless sleep. The next few days passed in a blur. Isabella found herself daydreaming at the bakery, her mind wandering to thoughts of Luca and the unexpected connection they shared. She played with the idea of calling him but hesitated, gripped by the familiar fear of stepping outside her comfort zone. On the third day, she finally found the courage to dial his number. The phone rang, each tone echoing her rising anxiety until he answered, his voice warm and inviting. "Isabella, I was hoping to hear from you." "Hi, Luca, I thought maybe we could meet for coffee?" she suggested, her heart racing. "Absolutely. How about tomorrow afternoon? I know a great cafe coffee right near the river." The next day, Isabella arrived at the cafe copyright, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. As she spotted Luca sitting at a table, a sense of anticipation washed over her. He looked up and grinned, his blue eyes sparkling with mischief. "Just as beautiful as I remember," he said, standing to greet her. They spent hours talking and laughing, the world around them fading away. Luca shared stories of his adventures, and Isabella felt herself opening up to him in a way she never thought possible. The chemistry between them was undeniable, and each shared laugh drew them closer together. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the city, Luca leaned closer, his voice low and sultry. "Isabella, you are truly enchanting. There's something about you that makes me want to know everything, every secret you hold." Her heart raced at his words, but a part of her recoiled in fear. "I'm just a baker. There's nothing extraordinary about me," she replied, a hint of self-doubt creeping into her voice. He shook his head, his expression earnest. "You are so much more than that. You have a light in you that shines brightly. You just need to embrace it." Feeling bold, Isabella decided to lean into this moment. What if I wanted to take a leap of faith? What if I wanted to explore what lies beyond these walls? Luca's eyes lit up. "Then let's do it. Let's go on an adventure together. Life is too short to be confined by the past." With that, a pact was formed, a promise to explore the world and each other. Their connection deepened with each passing day as they ventured through the streets of Verona, discovering hidden gems and shared passions. They visited art galleries, wandered through vibrant markets, and danced beneath the stars at local festivals. But as the days turned into weeks, Isabella's life became a whirlwind of excitement. Each adventure with Luca stirred a desire within her, a longing for something deeper than fleeting moments. She found herself falling for him, captivated not only by his charm but by the way he made her feel alive. One evening, after a night of laughter and dancing, they found themselves at a quiet spot along the riverbank, the moon reflecting on the water like a shimmering dream. The atmosphere was charged with tension, and Isabella felt a magnetic pull toward him. "Isabella," he murmured, his voice low and intense, "you've changed my life in ways I can't explain. Being with you feels like discovering a part of myself I never knew existed." Her heart raced as she searched his gaze. "I feel the same way, Luca. You've awakened something in me." As the words left her lips, he closed the distance between them, capturing her lips in a passionate kiss that ignited a fire within her. She melted against him, surrendering to the moment and the undeniable chemistry that had been building between them. In that embrace, Isabella felt as though the world had fallen away, leaving only the two of them suspended in time. She was no longer just the baker confined to her shop. She was a woman in love, chasing dreams and embracing life in all its glorious chaos. As their relationship deepened, however, shadows from Isabella's past began to creep in. The thrill of adventure was tinged with a sense of fear of losing herself in this intoxicating whirlwind and fear of facing the responsibilities she had left behind. She found herself withdrawing at times, haunted by doubts that threatened to shatter her newfound happiness. One evening, as they walked hand in hand through the bustling streets, Luca turned to her, concern etched on his face. "Isabella, what's going on? You seem distant lately." "I'm just a broken bar trying to figure things out," she replied, avoiding his gaze. "I've never allowed myself to dream like this before, and it's overwhelming." He stopped walking, gently tilting her chin up to meet his gaze. "You don't have to face this alone. I'm here for you, whatever you need." Tears brimmed in her eyes as she felt the weight of her fears pressing down on her. "What if I'm not enough? What if I lose myself in this? I've spent so long building my life, and now it feels like I'm teetering on the edge of something unknown." Luca stepped closer, his voice low and soothing. "Isabella, you are more than enough. This journey isn't about losing yourself, it's about discovering who you are. Let me help you." His words resonated with her, but doubts still lingered in the corners of her mind. That night, as she lay in bed, she realized she needed to confront her fears head on. She had spent too long letting them control her life. The next morning, she made the decision to meet with Luca and lay her heart bare. At their favorite cafe copyright, she took a deep breath, her hands trembling as she spoke. "Luca, I need to tell you how I really feel. I've never allowed myself to embrace life like this before, and it scares me. I don't want to lose what we have, but I'm afraid of falling too deep." He listened intently, his expression softening. "Isabella, it's okay to be scared. Love is a risk, but it's also the most beautiful thing we can experience. I want to help you navigate this journey." Their conversation opened a floodgate of emotions. Together, they explored the intricacies of love, vulnerability, and the fear of losing oneself in the process. Isabella realized that true connection required honesty and trust, and she began to dismantle the walls she had built around her heart. Days turned into months, and their bond only grew stronger. Yet, just as they began to feel settled in their relationship, fate intervened. One afternoon, Isabella received a phone call that sent shockwaves through her world. "Isabella, it's your mother." Her father's voice crackled through the line, filled with urgency. "Your mother has fallen ill. You need to come home." Panic surged through her veins. "What happened? Is she okay?" "She's in the hospital. They think it's serious," he replied, his voice tight with concern. In that moment, Isabella felt the ground shift beneath her. All the dreams she had been building with Luca began to crumble as the reality of her responsibilities sank in. "I'll be there as soon as I can," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos inside her. When she arrived back in her hometown, the familiar sights and smells enveloped her, but the weight of anxiety overshadowed any sense of nostalgia. Her mother lay in a hospital bed, frail and pale, a shadow of the vibrant woman Isabella remembered. The doctors were optimistic, but uncertainty hung in the air like a dense fog. As days turned into a blur of hospital visits and quiet conversations, Isabella felt torn between two worlds: her family, who needed her, and the life she had begun to build with Luca. Each time she thought of him, a pang of longing pierced her heart. One evening, after a long day at the hospital, she found herself sitting alone on a bench outside, the cool breeze whispering through the trees. Just then, her phone buzzed with a message from Luca: "Thinking of you. I'm here if you need me." Tears filled her eyes as she read his words. She longed to reach out, to share her struggles, but a sense of guilt held her back. "I can't burden him with this," she thought, wrestling with her emotions. Yet, the weight of her silence was heavy. In that moment, she made a decision. She needed to face her fears and communicate with Luca, no matter how daunting it felt. With trembling hands, she replied, asking if they could talk. They met the next evening, the tension between them palpable. As Luca approached, concern flickered in his eyes. "Isabella, what's wrong?" She took a deep breath, her heart pounding. "My mother is sick. I've been at the hospital, and I feel lost. I'm afraid of losing everything I've built with you while also needing to be there for my family." Luca's expression softened as he stepped closer, enveloping her in his warm embrace. "You don't have to choose between them and me. I want to be here for you, to support you through this." His unwavering support washed over her like a balm, soothing the turmoil within. "But what if I can't be everything you need? What if I fail?" "Isabella, love is about being there for each other, through the highs and the lows." "We'll figure this out together," he said, his voice steady. In that moment, she realized that love was not just about passion and excitement. It was about resilience, understanding, and unwavering support. With Luca by her side, she could navigate the challenges ahead, just as he had been there for her during the joyous moments. Over the next few weeks, Isabella juggled her time between the bakery and the hospital, drawing strength from Luca's presence. He became her anchor, accompanying her on visits to see her mother and offering a listening ear whenever she needed to vent her fears and frustrations. As her mother's health slowly improved, Isabella began to find a balance in her life. She returned to the bakery, but the experience had shifted her perspective. She realized that she didn't have to abandon her dreams to be there for her family. She could weave the two together, embracing both the warmth of her roots and the thrill of her newfound love. One afternoon, as they sat on the steps of the bakery, Luca turned to her with a serious expression. "Isabella, I know you've been through so much. I want to take our relationship to the next level. I can't imagine my life without you." Her heart raced at his words, a rush of emotion flooding her senses. "What do you mean?" she asked, barely able to contain her excitement. "I want to travel together, see the world, and build a future. But I also want you to know that I'm here for you at every step of the way." The warmth of his words wrapped around her like a comforting embrace, and she felt a thrill of hope blossoming within her. "Yes, I want that too," she exclaimed, tears of joy spilling down her cheeks. They spent the next few weeks planning their future, discussing dreams of travel, adventures, and the life they could build together. Isabella felt a renewed sense of purpose, a feeling that she was finally on the right path. As they prepared to embark on their journey together, she reflected on the lessons she had learned. Love was not just about passion, it was about connection, support, and the willingness to grow together. The seductive stranger who had entered her life had transformed her world in ways she never imagined, and now she was ready to embrace the adventure that awaited them. On the day of their departure, Isabella stood at the bakery door, her heart brimming with excitement and anticipation. The sun shone brightly, casting a golden hue over the city. As she took one last look at the familiar streets that had been her home, she felt a sense of liberation wash over her. With Luca by her side, she was ready to step into the unknown, to chase dreams and forge a new path. Together, they would explore the world, uncovering hidden treasures and writing their own story. And in the depths of her heart, she knew that she was no longer just a baker confined to the walls of her shop. She was a woman in love, poised to embrace life's endless possibilities. Their adventure began, and as they set out into the world, Isabella felt a thrill of anticipation. She had found not only love but also the courage to chase her dreams. The seductive stranger who had wandered into her life had become her partner, her confidant, and her greatest adventure. In each other's arms, they would discover not just the world but also the depths of their souls, forging a love that transcended the ordinary and embraced the extraordinary. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.